Do you believe now? Are you a believer now? I cannot believe that game. What a game one. Unbelievable. Unreal. Talk about clutch. Talk about amazing play. We got it from every single area you can imagine. It was an up and down game. But what did I say? What did I say? Shock the world. Shock the world. All it takes is just an opportunity, just a chance. And then we're able to get it done and seal the deal and get this game. I still am in shock. I still cannot believe what we just saw. Game one against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals. It goes to overtime. And in OT, Mikal Bridges has the best game of his Knicks career on defense and on offense. And on the last possession, where the Celtics are trying to get something going, trying to tie this game again, Mikal Bridges makes sure they can't do any of that. He steals the ball, and in that process, steals the game for New York. They said we couldn't get it done. They said we were not going to be able to get it. But you know what? They cannot shut us down. They were not going to be able to take this game away from us. We're going to break down all of these things tonight. If you are enjoying the content or you're enjoying post games, all the videos, everything that we drop on this channel on a daily basis, you could do me the biggest favor of all time if you just hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications on as well too. So that way, whenever we drop new content, you get notified. And now, without further ado, let's get started. The Knicks shocked the world. Steal game one versus Boston. I didn't stutter. That's not a typo. You heard me correctly. The Knicks walked into the fake garden, walked into what I like to call TD Arena. Everybody in that arena, most people watching that game, most NBA analysts called the Knicks the underdogs, said the Knicks were not going to win this game. In fact, most people thought the Knicks were going to get blown out. What are you saying now? Are you doubting the Knicks now? I've been saying something across my social media for a while. Keep doubting the Knicks. Keep saying we can't get it done, that we're not going to be able to do it, that it is not our time, because every time you tell us we can't get it done, every time you tell us we can't do something, you add more motivation to a team that is already motivated to send a message and make a point. Regular season, postseason, there are levels to this, and New York showed you why there are levels to this. That third quarter of doom, New York quickly, mind you, goes down by 20 points. I don't know about you guys, but I'm nearly flinging everything at my TV. I don't know what to do with myself. 5 minutes left in that third quarter. New York turns it on. And I'm talking about turns it all on. They start moving the ball, start moving themselves, start hitting threes. OG Anunoby goes off. He has an amazing game, an amazing second half. Jalen Brunson doing Jalen Brunson things. Captain Clutch. How about Josh Hart? Not only a one-man fast break, but getting so many offensive rebounds for New York. So many second chance opportunities that we were able to convert on. And I'll tell you one thing. I know one thing for certain. I know one thing absolutely, that nobody in the chat, nobody at all will be saying for a very, very long time. 5 first-round picks? How many picks? How many picks? 5? Nobody cares. No one cares. You want to know why? The reason that we got Mikal Bridges, The reason that we made all of these moves, all of these trades, was to be able to take on the Goliaths of the NBA, the powerhouses of the NBA, the Boston Celtics of the NBA. Say whatever you want to say about Mikal Bridges. Say whatever you want to say about his regular season play. During the postseason, he has increased his play, especially on defense. On offense, it's been hit or miss, it's been hit or miss, but it's been coming along. Tonight, even though he didn't have it going all night, he showed you when it counts, when it matters, he can not only get you the stops, he can not only make the defensive plays, but he can also make the big buckets to help the team go up, get the lead, keep the lead, and now we are talking about the New York Knicks up 1-0 on the Boston Celtics, a team that we were not supposed to beat, a team that was supposed to beat us, a game that we were not supposed to take. Everybody is upset. Everybody is angry. Everybody is mad. But in New York, we're happy. We understood the mission. We understood the assignment. We believed and we understood. We just needed to make it close. And as long as we kept the game close, our stars could pull it out. Captain Clutch could pull it out. We could have other stars come in and help us. That's exactly what happened. New York, down 20 points in this game, comes back, takes the lead, takes the game, steals game one, takes home court advantage away from the Boston Celtics. And now we have a series on our hands in overtime. That's right. This Knicks game goes to overtime. Game one. The Knicks win 108-105. And now New York leads this series 1-0. At 6 minutes and 19 seconds left in the third quarter, New York is down 20 points, 52-72. Something else to keep in mind here. At halftime, we have 45 points, which means by this time, we've only scored 7 points. 7 points. So it looks like the third quarter collapse all over again. It looks like that type of game again, where we're going to get annihilated in the third, try to fight back in the fourth, and then get blown off the floor again. That's what we thought. But it didn't happen that way, did it? The Knicks got this game really close in the first quarter. It was 25-26. I did mention the Knicks were able to keep the game close, even though they were turning the ball over, forcing a lot of passes inside. Again, playing really uncharacteristically from what we've seen from New York basketball. Then after coming out of halftime up big, they turn a big lead even bigger. They grow that lead to 20 points. New York is fighting back. But as I already mentioned already, New York fights back. They're able to get back in the third quarter to close out strong, making it a 9-point game headed into the fourth quarter. They fight back early on, going back and forth. They tie the game thanks to Captain Clutch, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges. And then in OT, they score 8 points to the Celtics 5 points. And that was because of Jalen Brunson, because of OG Anunoby, because of Mikal Bridges, and also because of great defense from Mikal Bridges. And all of those factors, all of those points lead New York to win this game and lead this series 1-0 right now. Mikal Bridges tonight, as the Knicks take game one in overtime. 51 minutes played. 51 minutes played. And I promise you guys, we needed each and every single one of these minutes. 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 threes made, 2 blocks, 2 steals, plus 1 game-winning steal. And you can see it right there on Jaylen Brown. Boston has a chance to tie the game here. But Mikal Bridges knows where that ball is going. He sees it. and he takes the ball away from Brown, takes the final possession away, and takes the hopes and dreams of the Celtics away from game one. Steals this game, and we're talking about a victory. Now, I'm going to say it. Mikal Bridges, even though his defense was good for most of the game, his offense was not. He was missing a lot of open shots, a lot of open threes. Sometimes he was trying to shoot the mid-range. He was missing that sometimes, trying to force some things. It really wasn't looking nice. But like I said, this Knicks team, time and time again, we've seen it all. This Knicks team, time and time again, we've seen it against the Pistons. Even though they may not play exactly the way you want them to play for 48 minutes, when it's the fourth quarter or the game is on the line and we need a bucket, we need a stop, we need that play to be run, this Knicks team shows you they're resilient and they're not going to stop. They're going to continue. They're going to push, and they're going to make sure they get as close into the game as possible. And if that means they can steal the game, tie the game, whatever that means, they're going to do it. And that's exactly what they did to close the third going into the fourth quarter. We made it a 4-point game early on in that fourth quarter. Then we tied the game early, I think around the 5-minute mark or so. Back and forth we go. Tie game. They go up. We go up. It's still close. Then we get a chance. We get a chance to close the game before it goes to OT. Guys, when I say I've seen Jalen Brunson make this shot 9 times out of 10, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where he hands the ball off, Towns finds him inside when he's running and cutting, and he's able to go make the easy layup. It's essentially a bunny for him. A bunny. It's a short layup. He misses it. 9 times out of 10, New York makes that bucket. We're not going into OT. Jalen misses the bucket. Then on the other end, New York makes sure that Jason Tatum doesn't get a bucket off correctly. We're going into OT. And then in overtime, when you think New York might not be able to get it done, the hero that you never expected, the hero that you didn't want, the hero that you kept screaming 5 first-round picks at, came to play and gave you the game-winning steal. Now, I'm going to say it. Mikal Bridges, even though his defense was good for most of the game, his offense was not. He was missing a lot of open shots, a lot of open threes. Sometimes he was trying to shoot the mid-range. He was missing that sometimes, trying to force some things. It really wasn't looking nice. But like I said, this Knicks team, time and time again, we've seen it all. This Knicks team, time and time again, we've seen it against the Pistons. Even though they may not play exactly the way you want them to play for 48 minutes, when it's the fourth quarter or the game is on the line and we need a bucket, we need a stop, we need that play to be run, this Knicks team shows you they're resilient and they're not going to stop. Captain Clutch tonight, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. OG Anunoby, he's complimenting the captain. Also 29 points. He's also grabbing 4 rebounds like the captain. 6 of 11 from 3. You heard me right. Anunoby was near on fire from 3, and he was getting open looks. That was the difference. That was the main difference. New York was finding him and making sure that they were generating open looks. OG Anunoby was not being guarded by 4 players or 3 players or anything like that. Jalen Brunson or Josh Hart or Mikal Bridges or Karl Anthony Towns, they would dance inside, try to break down the Celtics, draw a couple of defenders, and then pass the ball to one player who would pass it to the corner or pass it to an open OG Anunoby near the corner, near the top of the key. And nearly almost all of his looks were open shots or he had space on his shots, or he would fake it and then make the shot anyways. That is the OG Anunoby we need if we're going to beat Boston in this 7-game series. Winning one game is great, and we understand how the Knicks were able to do that. Great games from Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges. But we're going to need this type of play from these guys each and every night. It can't just be a one-night affair. If they can keep this play consistent, New York can go as far as they want to go. As we can see here with the stats, New York shoots 42.5% from the field. Boston shoots 35.1% from the field. They shoot 25% from three. New York shoots 45% from three. Let me tell you something, guys. That's not going to happen again. Boston shooting that badly from three, I don't think that's going to happen again. New York has to be ready for that. If Boston puts on a show from three, then New York's going to have to make sure they man up their defenders. They play them one-on-one. They don't try to ask for too much help, and they try to close out on the shooters as hard as possible. If they're able to do that, maybe they make life horrible, very hard for the Celtics shooters. But if they don't, it could be a very bad time for New York. I want to remind everybody, even though the Celtics clearly did not hit their threes, 25%, it wasn't like they were not generating threes. They shot a lot of threes. Some of them were open threes. They were missing them. A lot of those threes they were missing was in the first half as well, too. If they hit those threes in the first half, I don't know if New York is talking about a comeback. Maybe they're talking about getting the game close, but not enough. It's because we're leaving shooters open at times. What we did to close out the third quarter and a lot of that fourth quarter, some of that OT, what we were doing then, we have to do that for 48 minutes against Boston. If we're able to do that and make sure we're protecting the three, that is how New York beats Boston. I said it even a couple of videos ago when I broke down the keys to beating Boston. The number one thing I said was this series is going to be defined by how you generate threes, how you make those threes, and how you guard the threes. Whoever does that the best is likely going to win the series. So let's go into the team stats here and see what jumps off the page very quickly. I want to make sure we understand something here. This is the one thing that should jump off the page to you. For me, it was scary. Look at the three-pointers attempted by Boston. That's the difference right there, guys. Boston shot 60 three-pointers. And they made 15 of them for 25%. Conversely, New York made 17 three-pointers, but we only shot 37. Almost more than half. That is insane. Ridiculous. What if they hit 33s? By math, they would have blown us out. Not only does New York have to prevent Boston from making the three, we have to prevent them from taking the three. They put up a lot of open shots that were threes today, and they missed them. Yes, New York was able to win. Yes, we were able to steal the game. But that three-point percentage from Boston, that won't be the case every game. That won't happen all the time. So we have to remember that. The Knicks have to do a better job of making sure that they're guarding the three and preventing Boston from getting up that many threes. Very important to look at that. Another thing to look at here is the defensive rebounds versus the offensive rebounds. The Knicks were out-rebounded on the boards, at least for the offensive boards, 12-19. That's important. Defensive rebounds, not as bad, 37-40. But here's where I'm always going to keep going back to. Team assists once again. New York with 19. 19 team assists for New York to 18 team assists for Boston. Now, both teams didn't pass the ball enough. I think even Boston would tell you that. Boston probably wants to move the ball a little bit more because that's how their offense gets unstoppable, sometimes untouchable. With Jalen Brunson and this Knicks team, you kind of have to move the ball in the exact same way to unlock the offense and what we're trying to run. With that many passes, even though it's better than Boston, it's not good enough. It's not. We need to pass the ball at least 25 times on average as a team to give ourselves a chance each and every game to win the game. Now, even though this game, we were able to win the game in OT for a number of different reasons, which we already broke down. The defensive play from the Knicks, the way we were able to close out the third, how we played the fourth, OT, Mikal Bridges, his game-winning steal, Jalen Brunson, captain clutch, OG Anunoby, him starting off this run in the third quarter. So many different factors to why New York won this game. But moving the ball should have been one of those factors to why New York was so impactful, and it wasn't good enough. With the New York Knicks, Mikal Bridges, 51 minutes. OG Anunoby, 46 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns, 31 minutes. That was because he was in foul trouble a lot. Still 31 minutes. Jalen Brunson, 44 minutes. Josh Hart, 45 minutes. Achua, 5 minutes. Robinson, 21 minutes. Campaign, 3 minutes. Deuce McBride, 19 minutes. Everybody else, including Landry Shamet, was a DNP coach's decision. They did not play. They didn't get off the bench, ladies and gentlemen. They didn't even need to get off the bench because Tom Thibodeau went 9 players, but in reality went about 7.5, I would say. You can say that because you see Mitchell Robinson, 21. You see Deuce McBride at 19. Those two play over 15. You can consider that significant minutes off the bench. That's 7.5 players that Tom Thibodeau has played. Now, am I going to kill him tonight for playing the starters that many minutes? No. Not at all. Not at all. You do that when you know you need to do that when the game is on the line. Tom Thibodeau, relying on his starters, relying on the players that he can put out there, who's not in foul trouble, who he can depend on. That's what you do as a head coach. That is the adjustments that you make. And right now, all of these minutes being played, you play them during the postseason. You play them for nights like this. Now, do I want the bench to be more involved? Do I want the rotation to expand? Do I want more players to play heavy minutes? Absolutely. I want the starters to play less minutes. I want them to get more of a rest. But if the game is close like this and we need them, I'm not going to fault anybody for those minutes. We're going to have to talk about Karl Anthony Towns really quickly, though. It's not going to be long, but we do have to mention it, though. Karl Anthony Towns tonight, 31 minutes. He took 13 shots, made 6 of them, gave you 14 points at 5 fouls, no assists, 13 rebounds, and 1 miss from 3. Karl Anthony Towns needs to be more involved in the offense on a number of different ways. The Knicks need to find him more. Tom Thibodeau needs to run more things for him. But you are an all-star, Towns. You're an all-star at the end of the day. You need to be able to do things for yourself. You need to be able to get yourself going as well, too, especially when you know your team needs it and you know everybody else is depending on you. However, let me say this. The way they were playing Karl Anthony Towns for this entire game, the way they were pressuring him, every time he was inside the paint, every time he was inside the paint, throwing a double at him, a triple at him, throwing multiple bodies at him, playing him physical, not letting him drive properly. It wasn't that Towns wasn't trying to do anything. It was that Towns was doing things and either was not getting the calls or just was getting extremely frustrated. And that's when you saw those fouls happen as well, too, when he was frustrated. But Deuce McBride, can we talk about Deuce for a little bit here? Deuce McBride, 4 of 8 from the field, 19 minutes played, 3 of 6 from three-point range, 2 rebounds, 11 points, 1 assist. Deuce McBride, finally, not the biggest game, but still, 11 points off the bench. Finally, we get some bench play. Finally, we get some help. Finally, we get to say that New York's bench was able to contribute on some level. And it happens from Deuce McBride, arguably the player you wanted to see it happen from. Deuce, and I mean this as nice as I can say it, Deuce has been awful during this postseason. He's been awful. His entire game has been awful. He hasn't been able to shoot anything. Yeah, his defense has been okay. But other than that, his offensive game has been a ghost. He hasn't been anywhere. And then tonight, he comes in. It's like the Deuce we always knew. Instant offense. Back to being Deuce McBride. And playing the same defense that you love. Gave you 11 points tonight. I would love to see him give you a little bit more. But I'm not going to knock him for 11 points when before he couldn't even give you 3 points. But I am hyped. I am excited. We did what nobody wanted us to do. We did what they didn't want us to do. We, the New York Knicks, just shocked the world. And I could not be able. Look, I'm just so happy. I could not be happier about it. Keep talking to us. Keep saying we can't do it. Keep doubting the Knicks, because every time you say we can't, we just step up, use it as motivation, and show you exactly why. We can, we will, and we're gonna do it. Just like we did tonight. New York steals game 1 in overtime, 108-105. They lead this series 1-0. And now Boston has all the pressure on them, all the pressure in the world to go out there in game 2 and try to make a statement of their own. But now New York can play even more free. And that could be even more dangerous for a Celtics team that absolutely needs to take game 2. New York did what they needed to do. Stole game 1, locked in the process, and now they are going into game 2 with a high level of confidence. The regular season doesn't matter. The postseason matters. And the postseason says the Knicks are 1-0 on Boston. That is all you need as a player, especially in the postseason, to give you motivation and believe. Not only believe you can win the next game, but believe you can win the series. I believe. This Knicks team clearly believes. Do you guys believe? If you do, or even if you don't, let me know in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.